Welcome back to 405 Sports, and wow, do we have something to talk about in the UFC. UFC 287 has been announced. Now, Dana White had a Instagram Live or Twitter Live, YouTube Live. You know, you sat there and you were kind of like, well, is he going to start this thing? And, you know, I was actually playing basketball when this happened, but I had seen the tweet. I played a game of basketball, still wasn't live. I'm like, what the heck? And my first thought was he's going to announce Conor versus Tony, and that they're going to coach the Ultimate Fighter, and, you know, we're going to probably start that, you know, in the next 2 months, and then, you know, they'll fight at the end. But we didn't get that. We get UFC 287, so we get something pretty darn good because Adesanya is probably, if he's a top 3 star in the sport right now, let's be honest. He does the best pay-per-views of 2023 or 2022, excuse me. He did the best pay-per-views, and I mean, the guy just fights. I don't care if you think Izyy is just a leg kicker and a puncher. He's fighting killers, okay? You're online talking about him, okay? Shut up. Don't do that. You're online talking about a guy who's going in there against 185 who are probably at 200 pounds at least after getting their weight back. Like, chill out on the Izyy hate about that. Like, I hate that stuff. Like, you are online. Stupid. Anyways, Adesanya versus Pereira 2-4, really. But, you know, they're not going to say that, actually. Wow. It's in Brooklyn. And, I don't know, man. It's gonna be a tough one. I expect a lot of grappling out of Adesanya. A lot more. So, maybe not. We'll see. I think Mark Goddard had a tough weekend after UFC 283 because a lot of people were saying, oh, you stopped the Izyy fight soon, very quick, and then you just let Glover Teixeira get killed for 5 rounds. So a lot of people were mad about that, but I don't know. I don't know how to feel. Izzy's stoppage, like, I mean, he was very much hurt, but he also he was taking those shots too. So I am going to rock Adesanya in this fight. And I know you're going to say, oh, he's got his number and all this. And yeah, what's the saying? It's hard to beat a guy 3 times, if not 4. So I'm just going to go with Adesanya. Now, I'm going to just reveal, because obviously they don't have it on the UFC website because they're just not good. Jorge Masvidal versus Gilbert Burns. I mean, what a fight. We thought we were getting this at UFC 283. Obviously, we couldn't get that. So we got Neil Magny. But Jorge Masvidal, he might not be up there in the rankings just because he's on a 3-fight skid and he's lost to some guys, and other guys have beaten guys, and, you know, they're up above Jorge. But man, this is a good fight. I expect Gilbert to maybe not be like the Hamzat fight. He might just go back to what he did versus Stephen Thompson, and I hate to say that, but that might be what comes down to it with Jorge. We'll see. Who knows? I'm going to rock with Gilbert Burns in that fight, though. I think that's pretty simple there. Next fight, Raul Rosas Jr. versus Christian Gonzalez. Now, Gonzalez is 1-1 in the UFC, but his only loss is to Jonathan Pierce, which is not a bad loss at all. He is killing it right now. So that's not a bad loss at all. Raul Rosas Jr. is off of his win at UFC 282. I mean, I'm probably going to rock with Raul Rosas just because I just want to join the hype train. Plain and simple, people. Kevin Holland versus Ponzinibbio. What a fight. Ponzinibbio, I know he won his last fight versus Alex Moreno at catchweight at 180 at UFC 282, but he did not look good in that fight. He was getting beat on the feet. I understand he knocked him out, but those first, 2.5 rounds, it was all Alex Moreno. And I know it was 180 pounds, but it was all Alex Moreno. Now, I will say, Ponzinibbio, what a shot he hit on Alex Moreno. Or Morono. With that, I'm going to go with Kevin Holland. I know Kevin Holland also was getting beat on the feet by Stephen Thompson, but at the same time, Kevin Holland was pretty, he was holding his own in that fight. Like, he was taking those shots. His chin is insane, man. It really is. It's an insane chin. And I really do think that he's high level. So I'm going to rock with Kevin Holland on this one. Rob Font versus probably one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. I saw him at UFC Austin, Adrian Yanez. I mean, this guy's awesome. Adrian Yanez is an absolute stud. He's a star in the making. I love Adrian Yanez. And I'm gonna pick him. I do like it is a little scary because Rob Font has taken some time off after his fight with Cheeto, and I do feel that Rob Font is a very big threat to Adrian Yanez. But Adrian Yanez at 135 just got some hands of power. I mean, there's only a couple guys that are down in those 135 and the 125 class that actually have power, and he is by far one of them, if not a top. Now, obviously, you can't compare the 125s and the 135s because, like, that's not fair because they obviously don't have the same power. But a lot of those guys down there do not have that power to knock guys out. But Adrian Yanez is a guy that has the power and capability to knock you out. But I'm not sleeping on Rob Font. Rob Font is an absolute stud. I don't care what anyone says. Rob Font also has a good chin. I mean, he's got a great chin. Look what he did against Cheeto. I know Cheeto was knocking him down, but that doesn't mean he was knocking him out, you know? So I'm even going to rock Adrian Yanez just because he is probably my favorite fighter. If not, he's top 3, he's somewhere, top 3, top 5, something like that. I don't know. Love the guy, Adrian Yanez. Joe Pyfer versus Gerald Meerschaert. I love this fight. Gerald Meerschaert, I don't want to say is like a gatekeeper, but, you know, he's very good to get, you know, some attention on your name. So he's always a good name to beat. You know, what he did to Bruno Silva, Gerald Meerschaert, I mean, you can't underestimate this guy. Bruno Silva was, you know, going head-to-head against Alex Pereira. We thought Bruno was an absolute killer. But, you know, Gerald Meerschaert showed, hey, I'm good too, man. I can strike, I can wrestle, I can do jiu-jitsu, I can do it all. So that's a great fight for Joe Pyfer to get his name. I'm going to go with Joe Pyfer, though, just because the same thing with Yanez. His hands are insane. Chris Curtis versus Kevin Gastelum. Yeah, I'm just going to go with Chris Curtis on this one. I mean, the Brendan Allen fight, the Phil Hawes fight, those ones, like, stick out. I mean, those were crazy. Those were in, like, the span of, like, a month, I think. And I know he had a tough fight against Jack Hermanson. That one was tough. But he came back, and look what he did to Joaquin Buckley. He made Joaquin Buckley go down to welterweight. So that's also another thing. Joaquin Buckley down to welterweight. I'm going to go with Chris Curtis just because he is on a tear. And, you know, a lot of people were not happy with Jack Hermanson's performance in his fight. I know I was talking about Izyy and how don't make fun of his performances. I'm not making fun of Jack Hermanson's performance, but a lot of people were not. Even Chris flipped him off. He gave him the double bird because of it. Alright guys, so those are the fights for UFC 287. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below of who you guys think are going to win these fights, and thank you for watching.